My dumbass self had looked at Florence freaking Pugh dead in the eyes and thought she was an extra. For those of you that don't know me, and that's a lot of you, I'm Michelle Yap. I was born in Malaysia, but raised and grew up in New York. And I am currently a radio news announcer for some of Malaysia's biggest stations. I'll pop their logos right here. My dream is to win an Oscar one day, and I just made my Marvel debut by starring in Thunderbolts.
See, when I filmed this, it was still called Thunderbolts, but because I have great luck, it's now called New Avengers. So, I don't know. Do I call it that?
So I am confusion.
Anyway, here's the clip. Look, there I am! Right there! Somewhere on this set! Didn't I play such a huge role?
I mean, to be fair, it's not really clickbait, more so than an exaggeration. Get ready with me while I talk about my experience being an extra in Marvel's Thunderbolts.
New Avengers.
So everything starts with casting, and that's definitely the most nerve-wracking part, because when you get the role, you get the role. But when you don't have the role yet, you're a bit nervous. And since Marvel wanted to shoot some scenes in Malaysia for Thunderbolts, they actually looked for a third-party local agency to help them out. Disclaimer purposes, we actually don't know what movie we're shooting for, or casting for that matter, because it just says a Marvel movie. So we're assigned time slots on when to show up to the agency, and I go in. It's pretty standard, you have a few papers to sign. Usually they ask for like your name, your height, your measurements, and NDA as well. Someone from the casting agency comes to take our papers after we fill them out, and then I realized my first big mistake. So when you go for a casting, you're expected to look as natural to your true self as possible. You're allowed to wear a little bit of makeup, but I guess it makes sense because they don't want to be catfished, you know what I mean? And in case you haven't noticed, I don't have blue eyes. Now, in my defense, this was my very first casting, and I even predicted it too. I told myself to buy the normal contact lens without color, and I bought them. I had them. I just forgot them. And I was definitely kind of in a dilemma because I could take them out and just throw them away. But if I threw them away, they would dry out and I would have no contact lens in. And also, my degree, like my power is 700 plus. So I was not going to see anything. I was like, bats blind. What's not bat blind? What is it? Blind as a bat. I was blind as a bat and I couldn't see shit. So, and the thing is, I drove there. So there was no way for me to drive back if I took out the contact lens. Luckily, the friend I was with did have his contact lens case and some solution with him. So it's finally my turn. I go upstairs into the studio and you're basically told to just introduce yourself, your age, your height, and they ask you to act out a few emotions. And I just want to remind you, this whole time I'm doing this, I can't see. I'm just praying, hoping, throwing up that I'm not looking at the shelf instead of of the camera. Like I'm looking off camera or something. So thank the Lord, the casting goes well and I awkwardly stumble out of there blind. And I'm pretty sure I hit a wall on the way out. So if there's like makeup on that wall, I'm so sorry. Like it's giving Kim K.
You guys, stop! Courtney! You guys!
After that, you just wait. Basically, if you make it, they text you. And when I tell you, I almost threw myself out the window when I got that text because I was so excited. Basically, they were updating me on the next process, which is wardrobe. And before you ask, no, I was not allowed to keep my hair. Basically, my hair looks like a fairy and a unicorn threw up on it, but on separate ends because they respected each other's boundaries and personal space. Needless to say, I had to wear a black wig during the shoot, which, in all fairness, I completely understand.
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
I mean, can you imagine Florence Pugh trying to do her thing, like her literal job, and in the background there's just this pink and purple haired clown running around? Purple, pink, and orange. Jeez. Anyway, they did ask me to bring my own clothes just so that we have a little more options, because wardrobe can be a little limited. They take pictures of every set you wear. It's down to the T. Even all your jewelry and every little thing makes a difference. Eventually, 2 head stylists come in. I'm not sure if they're both head stylists, but they looked like they were from Marvel. And they look at us batch by batch, basically. And the agency has to arrange everybody so that it looks good. That's how much of a difference it makes, the way you stand in your batch as well. And if there's anything they don't like that you're wearing, they will swap it out with other things until it's fine, and then you get the green light and you can go. On to the only part anyone cares about, the actual shoot day itself. So we had the option to either go ourselves or in a bus, which means they did provide transport. But we had a bit of a problem. So that day there was a event where we were supposed to meet up, and I think there was like a jog or a run or something, and the bus wasn't allowed to enter the area that we were waiting. Because of that, there was a bit of a delay, and we got to the shooting location a little later than we should have, which means by the time we got there, we were rushing to get everything out, everything done. They did take away our cell phones, so there was no way for us to take pictures or spoil anything. One of the first things we did was get changed in these tents, which had no light in them, by the way. So, and I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't use my flashlight. I was just there awkwardly trying to make sure everything was in the right place in the dark. I never realized how hard buttons were when you can't see them. Then it was time for hair and makeup. Unfortunately, it did take a little longer for me because of my wig. Finally, we go out and the head stylists from the other day are there, the ones from Marvel, I believe. I could be wrong, but they're there and they check everything, including your nails, your hands, just to make sure that you don't have anything you're not supposed to on. Basically, they put us in a holding room and they hold us there until we're needed on set, which kind of sucks because all the other extras were already on set. Eventually, they call us and they do need us on set, and the only thing going through my mind was, it's showtime! So we head onto the set and we're briefed on the explosion. Again, at this point, we don't know what movie we're filming for. And those that were closer to the explosion were briefed that things would fall on their head, like debris and stuff, but it wouldn't be dangerous or toxic. Also, Abang Bomba was on standby in case anything happened. So basically the instruction was that the assistant director or director would say boom, and then you'd pretend that's the explosion, you would run. And you know, I was so caught up in the moment that this was a Marvel film, I forgot this was a Marvel film, which means Marvel actresses or actors or talents were going to be on set. So I'm standing there trying to do my thing, you know, be the extra I need to be, but not too extra. I get it. And there's no announcement, of course, that they're going to bring out, you know, the talents or anything because they're doing their job. So I'm standing there. There's a bit of a break. I'm talking to the talent next to me, and I turn around and I see this woman standing there. She's blonde, she's got big, gorgeous eyes, really pointed nose. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, this extra is so pretty. I feel like she could be a lead in a film if she wanted to. You want my destiny. That's Florence Pugh! My dumbass self had just looked at Florence freaking Pugh and thought she was an extra. Oh my God. So remember, we don't know what film that we're shooting for. So actually, if you're a Marvel fan, you could kind of put two and two together because you knew, if you know the timeline of when the movies were coming out, you would know that Thunderbolts would. So we do a few takes and everything goes really well. She does her thing, we do our thing, and she walks past me and I'm like kind of like freaking out, starstruck, but trying not to show it because we're at work, you know what I mean? And then one time when I looked over at her, I think she just happens to look in my general vicinity, and I hope she doesn't think I was staring at her. I mean, I was, but you know what I mean? And then she smiles at me. Oh my God, Florence Pugh smiles at me. Like my life feels so complete and it just felt great. Like I'm kind of hoping when she smiled at me, she channeled some of that talent into me so that I'd have a little more talent. You know what I mean? Like if I stood close enough to her, would her talent rub off on me? Eventually the explosion happens and it's pretty freaking loud, guys. Like I didn't expect it to be that loud. And also I can confirm it is not CGI. That really happens. The explosion happens. But what I want to know is, like, if you're in a building nearby and you don't know that this shoot is happening, do you just think there's a terrorist attack or, you know, something burst, like a pipe burst or something? Because I would kind of be scared shitless if I was nearby and I heard that or saw that.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
Or maybe they vacated the buildings nearby. I don't really know. So something I wanted to point out was that last batch. Remember I said I was the last batch, right? We were asked to be removed because the set had too many people. I get it, too many extras. And when we were removed, we actually moved to the side. And that's when I learned a really valuable lesson. It's a dog-eat-dog world out here, especially in this media field, because I could swear on my mama, okay, maybe not my mama because I love her, but I could swear some of the people in that last batch did not leave the set. They just stayed there on the set and acted as if they weren't that batch so they could get more takes in, you know what I mean? What the hell? Because to me, I thought honesty was above all else, like, you know, or integrity was above all else, but I guess not. But you know what? I can't fault them for it because I get it. You're kind of watching after your own career and you're doing what's best for you in your best interest. Because if it was me, I might have done the same thing. The thing is, I had an intrusive thought too. My intrusive thought was telling me maybe you should just stay. Nobody will have to know. But I left anyways. So in the end, I heard from other extras that they all took about 15 takes in total, some of the earlier batches, but my batch or I only got to take about 5-6 takes. But also, we're all extras, you know what I mean? There's no point fighting. Finally, we do the last take, everything wraps up, everyone cheers, we're having a great time, and we go back into the holding room. We have to return our costumes. Oh, we were fed. That was great. I mean, Marvel did really take care of us. They gave us transport, they gave us food, and the food was pretty good too, guys. It was a buffet line. I think the hardest part of this whole experience was the post-production because afterwards I would see articles about, oh, Florence Pugh spotted in Malaysia. Could she be here to film a movie? Or is she here on a vacation? And I'm just like... And I came into work the next day and some of my coworkers were like, oh, did you hear Florence Pugh was in Malaysia? And I was like...
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What would she be doing here? I had no idea. Overall, 10 out of 10 experience, would absolutely do it again. Marvel took care of us. The casting agency took care of us. And by the way, shout out to the casting agency because they worked really, really hard. I got to see it up close and firsthand. And these poor girls and guys really fought tooth and nail to make sure everything was perfect. I don't know, I might do a part 2 about this because I like to talk and clearly I like to talk to my phone. But if you have any questions about the experience, leave a comment below and maybe I'll include it in my next video. If you enjoyed that video, please do subscribe and follow all of my other socials. I'll put them somewhere. Yeah, because I'm trying to win an Oscar and I need people to watch me for that to happen. No, I'm kidding. I like to make content, and if my content's funny to you, then, you know, tune in or whatever, I guess. Not whatever, but yeah. Okay, bye.